Emily here, and I am wishing you a happy World Book Day, all the way from Belfast in Northern Ireland. World Book Day is a special occasion all over the world, and in the UK and Ireland, we definitely celebrate it to the fullest, especially in schools. It is a tradition here in primary schools that on World Book Day you go to school dressed as your favourite book character. And in high schools, we often do a lot of reading activities, book reviews, book fairs, creative writing. And my favourite thing, which was called a book swap, where you come to school with your favourite book and you swap it with somebody in the class. In return, you get their favourite book to read. So I love that activity because I am a bookworm, to be honest. A bookworm is an expression in English which means somebody who loves to read. I think reading is fundamental. It's a way for us to learn, to expand our awareness, but also it's just a great way to clear our head, to relax, to get lost in another world inside the pages. Unfortunately, I don't think people read enough today as they used to in the past, but hopefully with World Book Day, this is something that can encourage you to change and to read more. I am going to read you a short passage from a famous Irish book called The Cure at Troy by Seamus Heaney. This extract is all about hope and how when you are living in a difficult time, it is important to look forward and find hope, which is obviously quite poignant given the time that we are currently living in. History says, "Don't hope on this side of the grave." But then, once in a lifetime, the longed-for tidal wave of justice can rise up, and hope and history rhyme. So hope for a great sea change on the far side of revenge. Believe that a further shore is reachable from here. Believe in miracles and cures and healing wells. I challenge you all this World Book Day to begin a new book. If you haven't already, during quarantine, start a book. It is a great way to spend your time, to clear your head, and to learn something new.
Hi everyone, happy World Book Day. It's Bella. Today I'm going to tell you about how we celebrate World Book Day in my home, Michigan, in the United States. For World Book Day in the United States, the celebrations depend on which state you're in, which city you're in, and which school you're in. One popular event for World Book Day is in primary school, something called a readathon. A readathon is where children bring all their favorite books to school with them. You might bring a pillow, a blanket, you can wear your pajamas to school, but you bring all your favorite books and lots of snacks, and you spend the whole day reading. So there's no gym class, no PE class, no math class, no science. You just read with your friends, with the teacher, by yourself. It was one of my favorite things to do for World Book Day when I was young. My city, Ann Arbor, also has a celebration where all of the bookstores in town have different events for World Book Day. In some of them, people go and dress up as their favorite characters from books. In some of them, they bring famous authors to read from their books. And in some of them, they just have big book sales. So it's very popular. I'm a poet, and something that I have done in the past few years for World Book Day is go to poetry readings on World Book Day, where I read some of my poetry, or famous poets will read from their books to celebrate World Book Day. So today I'm going to read for you a poem that I wrote, which was published in a journal, which is a book of poems that is from Michigan. The journal is from Michigan, the book is from Michigan, and my poem is about Michigan, and I am also from Michigan. I'm just going to read a couple of lines. Pines growing into the stars, they are children cradled into the lakes, their reflection as family portrait of Michigan. Ladder stretching sideways into cherry orchards and raspberry thickets, sand path to empty forest, ghosts of trees burned as firewood, product of Michigan. The actual poem is much longer, but that's good for today. So go out, Read your favorite books, read them alone, read them to your dog, read them with your friends and family, and have a wonderful and happy World Book Day.
Hope you all are doing well, and I miss you guys so much. So as you might be able to tell, I'm actually currently back in the States, and so for National Book Day, I thought it would be cool if I read a book that is really important to my hometown, since that's where I am. So this book is called Rocket Boys, and it's by Homer Hickam. And it's important to my hometown because we're known as the Rocket City, and NASA has a very, very big portion of space exploration that's going on here. And so this book is based on the space exploration, which is directly important and related to Huntsville. And if you don't understand all these words, it's okay. Don't worry about it. I just thought this would be a cool paragraph to read because I actually read this in school when I was your age. And my teacher actually brought in the author, and it was a really, really cool experience to get to hear from him. So here's the first paragraph of Rocket Boys. So, until I began to build and launch rockets, I didn't know my hometown was at war with itself over its children, and that my parents were locked in a kind of bloodless combat over how my brother and I would live our lives. I didn't know that if a girl broke your heart, another girl, virtuous at least in spirit, could mend it on the same night. And I didn't know that the enthalpy, decrease in a converging passage, could be transformed into jet kinetic energy if a divergent passage was added. The other boys discovered their own truths when we built our rockets, but those were mine. So I hope all of you are doing well during this crazy time, and I hope that somehow, wherever you are, you're discovering your truths, and you're still learning and growing in this strange time. Bye, guys. I hope to see y'all later.
So in the United States, we celebrate Book Day in schools mostly by teaching students about important and influential authors and books, obviously. And this is to make an effort to inspire them to read more and to encourage them to appreciate books and authors and hopefully enjoy reading and even writing as well. And so specifically in Illinois, where I'm from in the United States, one really famous author that we like to recognize on World Book Day is Ernest Hemingway. So I'm sure people have heard of him because he's extremely famous, and he was actually the most famous American writer of the 20th century, maybe one of the most famous writers of the 20th century. And where he was born is actually only about like 40 minutes away from where I live, which I think is pretty cool. And some of his books include The Sun Also Rises, A Farewell to Arms, and one of his most classic novels was one called For Whom the Bell Tolls. For Whom the Bell Tolls, which is actually a novel about the Spanish Civil War. Actually, Spain and Spanish culture shows up a lot in his writing. And he actually visited Spain during his lifetime and was really interested in Spanish bullfighting. So that shows up in his novels. So that's a cool connection that exists there that is brought on by World Book Day that maybe you guys wouldn't know. So I wanted to read a few quotes by Ernest Hemingway because he's, believe it or not, he's a very inspiring guy. He won a Pulitzer Prize and actually won a Nobel Prize for Literature in 1954. And so one of his quotes that I think applies really well to right now is from his book, The Old Man and the Sea, and it says, "Now is no time to think of what you do not have. Think of what you can do with what there is." Okay, so yeah, I think that's a powerful quote to think about. I'll read it again in case you didn't understand. It says, "Now is no time to think of what you do not have. Think of what you can do with what there is." So that's how we celebrate World Book Day in the United States and specifically in Illinois.
Hello! In the UK, World Book Day is a really fun day for everyone at school. We do lots of things to celebrate it, and here's a short video to show you some of those things that we do.